So what we have is a cross product. Now you guys have actually had this last year. You had this last year. Yes, you did. I just taught my 6th graders this very thing today, and the 6th graders are actually working on proportions. So right now we're having YouTube Inception, where we are watching the video that I shot this morning for 6th grade while watching the video for 7th grade. What would happen if I did this?
How many 6th grade classes do you have? 1.
Yes, sir. You can, yeah, feel free to watch this video. They don't. Ah, I see. So that's the proportion. You guys have had this before, but the difference between it now is we're going to be looking at it algebraically. So we have an algebraic property here, property of proportions. The cross product of a proportion are equal. Oh, the cross products of a proportion are equal. Let's try to change that here. The cross product, that's not either. Yeah. Wonderful. So the cross products of proportions are equal. Yeah, there we go. Yes, ma'am.
My friend Carly, she told me that we were learning about
Yep. Modo Rocha. But it's going to be a little bit less because I want to be able to do the homework examples on this YouTube video, and they didn't get to do that in the other classes, so it's going to be a little bit less, but I will describe it for you. Now, to talk about proportions, have you ever heard the term that this is proportionate to that, or have you ever heard the term proportionate? No? It's probably, I'm sure you've heard it before, it may just not stuck out. Is your water empty? You want to fill ours both up? Thank you. I saw it coming. So it says here, this is going to talk about the proportion of wealth with the U.S. average salary and what it's like to be in Russia whenever this question was made. It says here, the average monthly wage for a Russian is $110 a month. Okay, that's a very poor country. Okay, poor in the U.S. is way different than poor in Mother Russia. Okay, so while the average American makes at home or takes home about $2,197, that just shows you the average of the two. Okay, now, so that's saying if a Russian pays 44 cents for a loaf of bread, as much of an impact on their income that is, that's the same as if American was paying $8.79 for a loaf of bread. That is a lot. Now, to put it into more perspective for you, just imagine that you were buying blue jeans. Sorry. Look at this. If you bought blue jeans for $48 Russian cost, look how much of a dent that would put in your wallet this month. Designer, ridiculous price jeans, yeah. Now, people are loving to complain about gas prices. So if they were paying $1.80 in Russia for gas, they're like paying $35.96 for gas. Because it's showing you the proportion of how expensive things would be here if they were as expensive as they would be there. It's proportionate. Yeah, American. Yep. Okay. I don't think we'd have as many calorie problems. Now that we've discussed that silliness, that ridiculousness, I guess you could say, the table on 444, which we just showed, shows the cost of U.S. dollars in different purchase items in Russia and the equivalent price in terms of average American income. Now, here's the question that we want to know. What is the U.S. equivalent of cost for a bottle of aspirin that costs $6.72 in Russia? Thank you. So if we're going to have a bottle of aspirin, which is I believe it's an American company, they're going to sell this bottle of aspirin, which costs about $7 here. They're going to sell it to somebody in Russia for that same amount, and we're going to find out how much money they're actually spending. Okay? How much money they're actually spending, how much does it hurt their income to purchase this? So we're trying to find out two things that are proportionate. What are some nouns? There's a lot of information here, okay? What are some nouns that are going to help us find out what is their topics? What are the topics that we're comparing the proportions of? Don't say units. The units is money. Okay, the units is money. So why do we, now that we have that established, the units are money. So I'm going to make a fraction bar equals fraction bar. Please do that.
Did you turn your mic on?
Yes, thank you for checking. Yes. Microphone is on. So we have fraction bar, equal sign, fraction bar. Now, we know that we're dealing with money. So each of these is going to have money. And for those of you that are wondering where this is going, we're building upon it here, okay? Now, money where? Money where, Dana? Mother Russia. And naturally, it's going to be red. That's a horrible accent. Russia. Then we have money where else, Sydney? America is the greatest place. USA. All over the place in the USA. What? Doesn't make any sense. So, yeah, it says, now we have, yes.
There's this one person on Twitter who tweeted,
America's so lame. Thank God I live in the USA.
Good. Well, America's a continent. All right? The United States of America. Russia. What is something that we know? What is something that we know? We're trying to find out what is something we know with Russia. That their prices need to be cheaper, exactly. So what are two things in the information that we have in this paragraph and this paragraph that we can compare each other to? Yeah.
672 over 110.
Okay, let's talk about that 110. What's that 110?
110 is how much they earn per month.
Okay, where?
Job.
In what country? Russia. Russia earns $110 on average a month. Now, how about this spot here? What is directly proportionate to that? What do we have to compare, Jace? 2,197 bucks. Now, Luke, can you help me tell me what else information we know? Do we know something else about the U.S. or do you know something else about Russia? As far as things that we're trying to find out. This is because we have the average monthly income on the top, which is related to the average monthly income on the top. So we had to find something on the bottom that we're trying to find out from the other country. We have taken care of, well, this is just information that doesn't matter. So we've taken care of that, we've taken care of that, we've taken care of that. Somewhere in this sentence. 672 in Russia to something in America. So where's that 672 going to go? Under Russia. So $6.72 for a bottle of aspirin in Mother Russia. Now we need to find out how much that will hurt the American people who work and get the average of $2,197 a month. Not making fun of anybody. Do people not talk like that? Is that exaggerated? Yes. How? How's that making fun of? No making fun. I'm glad we don't all talk the same. I'm glad we all don't look the same. It's good. Seriously. Now I'm going to put a variable in here. I'm just going to do x. I'm just going to do x. Now, the proportions property that we learned today, that we discovered today, that we saw today, now we're putting it into motion. And it said up here that A over B equals C over D, then A times D. Actually, I'm going to do that again. So A D is equal to B C. So yeah, we're going to cross multiply because that's what it says right here. Multiplying across a cross pattern, multiplying in a cross pattern to check for proportional ratio. So from that, I'm going to take x times 110. Then I'm going to take $2,197, multiply that by 6,172. Where'd you get that from? From where? Oh, that's because yesterday. Ah, yes, you weren't here. I was like, how did you find tonight's homework? Good. So we're going to multiply those two. I'm going to set that up. So that said that A over B is equal to C over D. And that is equal to A times D is equal to, I'm just going to write it. I'm trying to go off the top of my head here because I'm trying to just set it up. So we are going to do the green, which is going to say that 110x is equal to 6.72 times 2,100 and come on, thank you, 2,197. Now, once upon a time, I said you will not be using calculators. And then there was one time on Tuesday, December 2nd, where your teacher's like, you can. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah. You can't. Oh, gosh, I can't even say it. You may use calculators today. You may use calculators tonight for homework. All right? Because the stop talking. I'll change my mind. Quiet. Now, tonight you may use it because there's a lot of larger numbers that's not the major concept where you guys will, I don't want you to make those mistakes on that tonight because of calculations, because that's not the major concept of what we're doing today. Because everything else, what we're going to do, you've done before. You've done it many times. We've done it so many times in this class. Now, we are going to multiply 6.72 times 2,197. So after I have that, after I do that, I would have 14,763 and 87 cents. Now, this is exactly what we have been doing for 2 months now. If I were to just take this part here, that looks like it could be an exact question from a test. You have something happening to a variable. You have an equation where it's $14,760.87. Okay? That is what you've done before. I worked through it with my other classes, but we're not going to do that in here because I expect that you guys know how to do it. All right? I expect that you know how to solve for that x and do those calculations. We went through it, did all the simplification, blah, 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 all that stuff. This one is a little bit faster. So when you're said and done, you divided that by 110. X becomes out to be $134.22. $134.22. And what is that number? What is that number? It is X. That's what X is. But what is that number? Luke. Yeah, I think it's 25, you said? 25 after? Okay. Thanks. Harrison? There we go. Yep. The proportionate cost of aspirin in the U.S. Okay? So this is proportionate cost of bottle in U.S. I'm just trying to hustle through this. Yes, ma'am. because I divided this number by 110 to get the variable by itself. That's the stuff that we did in review, and other classes got to see that, but you guys are going to be able to see the examples from the homework. Yes, sir?
So where did you get the .22?
He divided it by 100.
Cool. All right. Good. Now this one's a lot easier. There's a whole lot less information. Okay? Whole lot less information. Who are my basketball players? 3, 2. Okay. All the ones you can see. No, Sydney, you were cut from the boys' team.
Yeah, we tried out for it.
All the ones you can't try. The girls can't try for the boys' basketball team. All right.
Yes, we can.
No. Blueprints for a house. Blueprints for a house. Showroom. Show a room that is 2 5/12 inches long. The key to the blueprint says that shows that a quarter inch on the blueprints represents 18 inches on the house. How long is the actual room? That is so much better. Now, what are the two things we're comparing here? That's one of the first things you need to recognize. What are the two things that we're comparing? What's one of them?
The size of the room on the blueprint.
Okay, blueprint. Blueprint. What's the other thing, Sam?
The actual size of the house.
Actual house. Oh, I know. IRL. You guys know what that abbreviation?
In real life.
In real life.
Trick shotters use that
Earl.
same.
Actual house. Now, I'm going to create my equation, my fractions. Now, what do we know? What do we know? Max? 2 5/12 inches long. So it's a blueprint, so it's going to go somewhere on the blueprint side. And because I know how much I love to have my mixed numbers, I'm going to make it improper fraction because we're going to be working with it later. So I'm going to have 29/12. Now that's a fraction and a fraction, but that's just so we can set up a multiplication problem, okay? And these are going to be inches. This is going to be inches. The actual house also talks about inches. Okay. What else do we know? Jace.
That a fourth of an inch on the blueprint represents 18 inches.
Good. So a fourth of an inch in the blueprint represents 18 inches. So we have more information about the blueprint. So this is going to be 1/4 of an inch. And am I going to put my 18? Is 18 going to go there? Or is it going to go below it? Is 18 related to a quarter inch? Or is 18 related to 29/12 inches? It's related to a quarter inch because it tells us right here. It tells us, blueprint says that 1 inch on the blueprint represents 18 inches on the house. It tells us right there. Okay? So we are missing something here, so that's going to be our variable. That's going to be our variable. And when I set this up, when I multiply 29/12 and 18, then x and 1/4, it's going to come down to 29/12 times 18 over 1, because it's 18 is actually 18 over 1, equals 1/4 v. 1/4 times v. And keep in mind that whenever you have v next to a variable, remember that's v over 1, which can just be simplified to be v over 4. Oops, sorry. I'm just looking at the notes that we did last period. That's funny. I just went back in time. So we used Vanessa's initial. So we have 29 times 18 over 1, x over 4. And there's simplification, all these different things that we can do with that, but we're not going to do it because I expect you to be able to solve for x. We've been doing that for a month. I want to make the most use of our time so we can get examples from the homework so that what you come down with would be x equals 174 inches. Okay? 174 inches, or we could find that into feet if we wanted to. Okay? 174 inches. So that's telling us that the actual house, that room length, is 174 inches because it shows as being, go. Good luck. Have fun. Knock them dead. Okay? It shows us that 174 inches here is the length of the side. Length of side is 174 inches. Bye. Okay? 174 inches. Now, this is how much work the other classes had with that. See all this work here? Okay? That's what I expect you to be able to do. That was stuff that we've had tests and quizzes and everything on, but we need to move along. Then I think that I deleted something when I was rearranging this the other day and didn't catch it because I did the layout so you guys could have this big number 6 on the top. Okay? It says here, in simple cameras, like the one shown here. There, like the one shown. Click. I guess, or the top is hairy, I don't know. Like the one shown, light in the subject passes through lens and makes the image on the film. The image and the subject are always in proportion. For example, the image size is the image distance from the lens. The subject size is the subject distance from the lens. So, to show you an example of that, actually in Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, the first one, somewhat in the second one, but they used a lot of forced perspective rather than using special effects to make Gandalf look bigger than Frodo. But anyway, here's a couple examples of forced perspective. Just imagine that shadow isn't there. Here you go. We got a Doctor Who fan. So that is actually a small-sized TARDIS, and it's not actually crushing a guy. But the difference is that guy is closer than the person in red because it's forced perspective. What's another one? Oh, here's a good one. Now here's another forced perspective situation. This guy here is this big. Yellow snow. Yeah. This guy here is this big. Okay? Because he is that close to the camera. So if we measured the distance of him to the camera and how big he looks, if this guy here is the same height-ish, that's going to be the same proportion. Because, like it said in your notes, the distance from the camera lens is they're bigger in the image. So closer to the camera, bigger image. Farther from the camera, smaller image. And that's why they can do forced perspective and stuff like that. And I do not own the rights to those pictures, but you saw the source. Okay, so that's that. So that was a cool story, bro. Whatever. So that is a proportion there. Now we have number 4. There's supposed to be a question there, I think, but I left it out. Accidentally, not on purpose. The amount of paint needed to paint a surface is directly proportional to the area of the surface. So we have two concepts here. We have a surface, and we have paint. If 1 quart of paint, we have a unit. If 1 quart of paint is needed to paint a square that is 2 feet, unit, toot, toot, on one side, how many quarts must be purchased in order to paint a square that is 3 feet, 6 inches wide? That one is really straightforward. We just circled some things, underlined some things. So what are the 2 things we're discussing? Yeah, Dominique? Aren't those units, though? Okay, so with what you said, I'm going to go ahead and use that. That wasn't a wasted time. So it's feet, quart. Good. Now, what are we talking about, Bello? There we go. go. So we got paint. And paint's going to go by the quarts, right? Yeah. And then we also have the surface. So paint and surface. Now we have to pull out some other information. What do we know that has something related to the other? Something about paint that is proportionate to the surface. It's a relationship. Lainey, what do you think? One.
So 1 quart.
Okay, 1 quart. So if it's a quart, I know that I'm over here and I know that I'm in the right spot.
And
2 feet. Should 2 feet go here? On the top. 2 feet. Good. Now we have to figure out, okay, one of those 2 things we're not going to know. Which one are the 2 things that we don't know? Do we not know this number or do we not know that number? Freddie? We don't know the surface? So let's see, what the information have we taken care of? We've taken care of the 1 quart here. We've taken care of the 2 feet here. How many quarts must be used? Ooh, look, how many quarts? Keywords, variable. Let's do Z. Ew. There. Z quarts. And so that means that this number here has to be somewhere, this feet. How many is it? Yes? 3 feet 6 inches. I'm just going to do 3.5 feet. Because 3.5 feet is 3 feet 6 inches. But I'm trying to keep it consistent. I guess I could do this. I could do this.
I was looking at the 6 inches.
I could do 3 feet. Cameron. 3 feet 6 inches. There. Good. All right. Now we're going to do the cross multiplication to find out what is Z. I'm going to multiply these 2 together. Then I'm going to multiply these 2 together. And when I'm set up, to make it look the way that we've been doing for the last while, it's going to come out to look like 3.5 times 1 equals 2Z. Super simple. I'll work this one out, I guess. 2Z. To get Z by itself, I have to do the inverse, which is divide by 2. So 3.5 divided by 2 is going to be, what, 1.75? So we have 1 3/4 feet equals Z. One 3/4 feet equals Z. So that's how long, or that's how much of the, how much will be covered in 1 quart. So 1 quart covers 1 3/4 feet. Okay, 1 3/4 feet. If we want to put it back into with the inches, what would 3/4 of a foot be? How quick is somebody going to get this? What is it? Yeah, 9 inches. So you could say 1 foot 9 inches. Good. All right. Now the advantage that you guys have over the others, not because you're better or whatever, it's just because the others didn't get an example of this. And when on Edmodo tonight, as soon as you guys leave, I'll post that. Move. Yeah. They had 10 seconds in one of my other classes. 12 minutes before school is out, 10 minutes before the 2-minute rule. So on this homework, there's going to be every single one that you can see is what you're going to have to answer. Okay? We're going to do one of these examples together right now, and I like to see that some of you, as soon as you're getting it, writing your name on it. I love that. Thank you. This is 9.4. So this is 9.4, and this is a little bit different. This is a little bit different than what you guys have. Yes.
My
You're doing all the ones that you can see. You can't see any. What?
I can't see.
It's a joke.
Oh, you are so something. Okay. All right, let's do we started number 17 with my other class. See if I can do this without going crazy. Oh, okay. All right, never mind. So 17. Number 17 on the homework. Right? You guys have that one, right? Yeah. So we have 85.8 divided by D as in dog. Now we have 70.2 times 9. So we are going to have to cross multiply these. We are going to cross multiply these, and it's going to be 9 times 85.8, and then 70.2 times D. So when I rewrite it, it's going to look like this. 85.9 times 9 equals 70.2 D. 85.9 times 9, I'm going to make that an X. Okay. 85.9 times 9, and since you are allowed to use your calculator tonight, I can't believe it. I don't know why I'm doing that. Since you are allowed to use your calculators tonight, okay, 85.9, is that the numbers? 85.9. Thank you. 85.8 times 9 equals 772.2. 79.72. Nope.
I'm getting told it's the wrong worksheet.
Nope. We're doing example number 17 right now for YouTube. Special appearance by Jeremy Nichols. Good to see you. Okay. So what was it? 72 or 772? Is that what it was? 772. 772.2 equals 70.2 D. Now, in order to get D by itself now, I have to divide each side by 72.2 because of the reflexive property. Or the... You have the room on the back. There's room on the back to work through these. I tried to spread them out where you could work on different ones, but some of them I need you guys to do. So then we have 70.2D, or 772 divided by 70.2, divided by 70.2 equals 11. D equals 11, yes. D equals 11, and that's the answer for number 7. Yeah, see how much easier this is than the homework? Or the notes that we just did? Hey, you got me. Yes, ma'am.
Do we have to do 22 like that hard?
Yeah, that was just, I tried to get all the points off when I whited out the other stuff, but when I was done, I saw that. I'm like, oh, no. All right, let's do... Wait a second.
What is the 97 in the corner?
97 in the corner.
97 pages left to write on.
Yeah, that's the 97th slide. Let's do number 27, the request for that one. So, 27 in the homework with 4 minutes to spare. We have 3 shirts. Now, this is a situation where you're going to want to probably identify what's happening. So we have shirts and cost. So it's telling us that 3 shirts cost how much? $56.85. Ooh, what a black. $56.85. Not really. Then we have X shirts for $132 with 65 cents on the side. Oops, not that program. $132.65. Now we're going to take cross multiplication here. So now we're going to have 56.85x equals 132.65 times 3. $132. It's too bright? I can do that. Now we're going to multiply those, and since that crazy teacher let you do your homework with a calculator, what was it? What do we have there? 3 times 132. 3 times 132. Oh, well, at least for right now I am, right? 132.65 times 3. What's going on? Okay. So 397.95. So we have 56.85x equals, what was it? 397.95? 397.95. And the major problem with this one, the trick about this one is just making sure that you have the cost on one side and the shirts on the other. So then we're going to get x by itself by dividing 56.85 on both sides. 56.85 x equals, do we have the calculator out? What you got? Just 7 flat up, straight up? So 7. What is this unit? Shirts. Look where x is. 7 shirts. So that's numbers 17 and 27. I don't know.
Can we
Bye.